FMA Talk Live. I'm your host, Datu Tim. Joined me by FMA extraordinaire, Dean Franco. Dean Franco. How you doing, sir?
Good, and you? I'm just
Doing wonderful.
I'm just checking if you're live on Facebook because I can share it in the FMA discussion if
Yes,
you
you
would like.
can. So I hope everyone enjoyed their Father's Day. I wished you a happy Father's Day. I don't know if you saw that, Dean.
You did, and thank you. Yes, thank you.
And for those who I didn't wish happy Father's Day, too bad. You're not as special as Dean. He's super special.
Super special. All right, so wait, I should be looking up FMA Talk, correct?
No, you'd be looking up Datu Tim Hartman. Datu Hartman, that page, not FMA Talk. It's there. It should be broadcasting right now. Let me go into what's this? Oh, interesting. Okay. Let me see here. I gotta get over there. That might help. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this. Broadcast live, but I need to first go over. Why is it not over there? Hold on. I don't see this at all. Let me double check. Where are we at here? What are we broadcasting on? We are it shows that
I'm on Datu and it's saying live.
It says you are live. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know why. It's just not seeing.
Not seeing it anywhere. Let me Let me I don't see. I don't know. Interesting. I know it's filming live as we speak.
So then where are folks currently seeing it? Would it be on YouTube?
It should be over at Datu Hartman. Datu Tim Hartman. It should be there.
Let me try again.
But I don't see it there. Oh, okay. Here it is. Okay. I am going to share it to. Where can I share it to? I'll do it to a group. You're a group. That's a group, right?
Correct.
And I just shared it to FMA discussion.
Okay, let me just see if that populated. Just so we're.
Yeah, let's see if I went over there. Yeah.
We'll just make sure we're.
Sometimes this works out great and there's no problems. Other times it's like all over the place. So I've got 7 viewers. I got 5 viewers on Datu Hartman. So people out there are seeing it. I don't know.
That's strange. Yeah, I mean, it's just like we're on FMA discussion. I'm seeing the post that you just got pre-approved, but I'm not yet seeing the live feed.
Okay, I'm seeing it right now. Okay, I see it on FMA discussion as we speak.
What is going on? Why am
I have no clue, Dean.
Well, it's actually got to be something with me going on here. Let me.
Okay, so page down a little because after I see most relevant is Sam Anderson, his post that I see Blue Wizard.
Okay, all right, I see.
And then I see me.
Okay. Yeah. All right. So it showed in there. Okay. I think we're good.
Technology is awesome when it works.
And then, yeah. Well, as long as I guess they're seeing it I'm not seeing it in under Datu Tim yet, but if folks are seeing it, then I guess that's all that matters.
If you look at Datu Tim, there's a live button on my icon, and I don't know why it's not going through the regular way. It just stupefies me.
There we go. Yeah. Got it. Okay. Yeah. When you hit that, yeah.
I don't know why it's doing it that way. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share it to my own personal.
We can actually even And just see from technology.
Yeah, technology is awesome when it works.
Who's
Yeah, Carl Altram says hello from Canada.
that?
Carl Altram, the guy we're doing the Korean martial art event with.
Oh.
All right. Okay, I'll just close that down. I do not know why this is being so difficult.
Yes.
Oh, okay. There we go. And I'll share this to. You know what you do is you go to, like, if you look at, okay. So just as a record, if you're looking at my page,
Okay.
if you go to more, there are videos and a live button. So you click on the live button and it comes up.
Yeah, that's right now I'm in a discussion. I just wanted to see if it enables me.
Yeah.
Like
And
I hit.
Michael from Long Island. Hello, hello. Justin from Maine. Carl from Canada. And Jate, how you doing?
Can you share my wall?
Your personal one?
Sure.
Sure. Let me get back in there.
It's not enabling me, but
I'm an enabler, all right.
You're the enabler.
Oh shoot, that's a message. If you go to my page, go to Tim Hartman. It's on there right there. You should be able to save that or send that to your wall.
Yes. Okay. Yep.
There's always a workaround.
Got it. And actually, I think if I share this format to FMA discussion, they won't have to click on it. They could just see it live. Right now, the way it's set up is they have to, I could tell you right now, actually. Yeah. But anyway, I think we're good.
All right. I want to look up Jason's name here. I want to see if it's the person I think it is. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't see his. Hello from Portland. So, Doug, I know a couple of the Matty Canadians. What do you need to know? Let me see here. Hey, Jacob, doing well. I'm glad things are going well in Dallas. Actually, I think I got to respond to some other people. Maybe he's one of them about getting on the program. I've been kind of crazy this last week. My lawnmower almost caught on fire. Yeah, that was fun. Fortunately, okay. I know Jason. I know him. So just let me know what you want to know about him. Yeah. Yep. Okay, I'll do this. He's got a club in Mississauga. Karate club is the primary thing. FMA is a side thing. Michael, hey, what's going on? Today we're going to be talking about virtual training. Is it okay? So, we were having a little technology thing, so I was just trying to get some things together. But let's jump into this. So the question here is, or the topic is, pros and cons to virtual training. Is it a waste of time? Is it worth all the hype? Is it something we embrace? Now, of course, Dean and I do both physical and virtual training.
Yeah.
And I actually had a very good private lesson Sunday morning on Father's Day. I was with Grandmaster Panto Quinete Flores from San Miguel. and I had a great class with him. But before I started that, I worked with him in person in Cebu. All right, Stuart, Virginia. Oh, David from Stuart. Good. Jade. Could a rank be considered legit from virtual? I'm going to talk about that in a minute.
Yeah, something to cover right before that.
It's so
I
funny.
think the whole thing.
This. Okay, what's going on here? You mentioned this. I have a student that is Spanish right now, and they are not leaving their house because of what's happening in the U.S. They want me to do virtual training with them until they feel comfortable leaving their house. Okay. Okay. These are all good topics. I don't want to talk about the. I'm not going to talk about politics. So we're not going to. We can talk about how the current day politics may affect certain things, but I don't want to make this.
No, it shouldn't be. Actually, this should be void of politics. It's just it's a venue. It's a vehicle of transmitting information, and
Right.
I think the thing is, though, it goes far beyond like, okay, everybody says, great supplemental, which is true. But I think there's really, depending on the content you're teaching, the audience becomes particularly relevant in that if I'm showing intro material, maybe I want to get the system out there and all that. I think you can make that public, and therefore all walks of life, Marshall, you can come in because it's an intro thing. You know what I mean? However, the flip side of that, though, if you're dialing into something specific and it's kind of down the line as far as the curriculum, more advanced, and you make it public, you're going to get beginning people that are going to be lost. And guess what? They're not going to come back. You know what I mean? So I think the audience has to be really determined based on the content you're showing. Like, for instance, I've done public online seminars, WPM, Blake Tech, but they were intro. I did one last Saturday. It was very dialed into specific tactics. That was private. You know what I mean? Because I'm not going to have somebody new come in and they only have the beginning stuff. It's not fair to that individual. They're going to be lost. And you know what I mean? But I see people, they're showing in a public kind of setting, or anybody can sign up for it. And they show some pretty advanced stuff. And I know for a fact some of these people are not going back,
Okay, so let's start off with this. We both utilize in-person and hybrid platforms. Now, a hybrid is that there's usually some kind of class going on, and some, or more importantly, here's the problem I have out there. If the instructor is the only one presenting and they don't have a training partner,
that's a whole nother thing, though. But I think it's still, I think it's audience and the material.
No, I get it. Yeah. Well, it depends on what the topic is and stuff like that. I go, first of all,
because you got to train. So, not to me interrupt, you can have your partner there, man, and man, you got everything set up. You got the match. You're good to go. But if you made it public, and you're showing really advanced stuff, you're gonna have people that are not going to come back because they're going to be lost. They're just going to be lost.
Well, I think the first thing you have to do is, what are we doing? So and I'm not saying you were talking politics. I'm just saying, but actually the political, everyone's concerned about leaving their homes right now. So this is part of it, but I just make sure that we go down. We're not going to go whether what we think about people in the situation, stuff of that nature. Now, I was doing virtual classes before COVID hit. A platform called Skype. It's still out there. It's not as strong. And I agree with Dean that virtual classes need to be defined. And so, but and here's the other thing too, is this is every seminar. I've had people come to seminars.
Yeah.
So first of all,
virtual,
we have to sit there and take that out. We have to make sure that all of our seminars, physical or virtual, are for the right clientele. Now, I just did a seminar. So I do hybrid. So everyone understands, and this is the phrase that I coined. I have a physical seminar going on my property while virtual attendees are there. Now, the cool thing about it is that the people who are attending virtually if they're attending live, they get to ask questions. If they have a partner with them, I can do things. But I mean, ultimately, a virtual seminar is no different than buying a DVD, watching a YouTube video, or anything of that nature, subscribing to some online platform. I have no problem with digital learning to supplement what we're doing. If you've got people who are far away from you and you cannot be around them, like, so I've got a guy from Germany who attends weekly. I've got Alabama. I've got Canada. I've got Mexico. That these guys they're constantly training with me, but they have a challenge for distance. Obviously, they can't make that commute. I just was talking to a guy from Serbia yesterday. So, and ultimately, they just cannot make stuff happen because it's just too much of a challenge. Now, I think sooner or later you need to cross hands with people.
Yeah, but I think here's the thing though, where you're not setting up clientele. In other words, if you make it very clear, hey, I know you're far away. I just want to be upfront and realistic with you. In this particular module that we're doing, I can give you stuff pretty confidently and with a proven track record up to level 2. But honestly, after level 2, at some point in time, we're going to need to meet. I think if you're transparent in there, I think that's fine. You know what I mean? And not giving them, facade of like instructorship, online. But there's certain systems, as you know, that gravitate that can be taught online to a certain level. Like WPM, for instance, I teach. First 2 levels are perfect for online. It works really well. Proven track record. We see the results. But again, after that, then yes, there has to be contact.
All of my clients that have gone through my thing, what we do is we're using a belting system, so they can attain a basic black, not a first degree, without being in my facility. It's a virtual promotion. It's just a basic level. Now, that being said, all the people who have come through the program so far have crossed hands with me at one time or another, so it's a whole nother animal. So I have not had anybody come up through the program. Actually, Talis did. Talis from Brazil, which you had the opportunity to train with him. But he's a big boy. Yeah, he's come from other systems. He had an FMA experience already. I think if you're looking to train something and you have a little background in something, I don't think this is necessarily good for someone who's never trained martial arts before.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree with you. Like, obviously, having a background, be able to discern methodologies that might not at that present time be in your wheelhouse, but based on your past experience, you can get a feel for the dynamic, what's being there. Yeah, so definitely experience. But again, I also think it depends on the curriculum that's being presented, and like anything else, the system. Rules and thumbs meant to be broken. I've had new people come to me in Piper who had no experience, but because it's so tactic based and it lends itself to online where I can see what they're doing and they send videos in. But again, back to our original point, up to a certain level.
There we go. As one who trains virtually as well as in person, would say virtual is good, but should at least see your teacher once a year. Just my opinion. Yeah, I mean, this is it. Listen. I'm going to be the first one to sit there. My bottom line position is this: it is a supplemental, not a substitute for live training.
Yeah.
If you have no training whatsoever, I really don't think that this is a good. I think most people wouldn't be able to do it. And we're talking about the norm, not the exception. You're always going to have someone that can do something that others can't. I don't want to, this happened, that happened. Like when I sit there and go, this would never happen. Well, it did happen. I'm like, okay. The norm is that this isn't going to happen. If it's like 99% of the time, it's going to go down this way. And then you're talking about the 1 percentile. I don't really care about the 1 percentile. I want statistically what's the most likely thing, and then we'll go from there.
But the other thing too is, in other words, what I assign is homework. In other words, you get the online lesson, but you need to not digest the material, show me some videos to next time we meet before we go down a further food chain. And I'm not even sure if you're even able to perform. So there's some checks and balances if you do a homework assignment and you want to see things come back to you. I mean, and it can work. I mean, very well,
So Matt wants to know, do you train or teach at Torrington Family?
Yes, but here's the story with that. So I do teach there, privately out of there, no group classes. However, I'm going to be moving to a gym because Keith, the owner of that school, is closing at the end of August.
Oh, that's a shame.
Well, he's going to teach at his house. So I think it's going to.
Oh, he's going to teach. Okay, all right.
So significantly lower overhead.
Okay. I get that.
Yeah. So in other words, to kind of make sure you're not going further down a food chain, and then you see these people in a year and they don't have anything. I think homework is a good checks and balance to assure that they're able to regurgitate verbally and physically, articulate what they're working on, demonstrate it physically. That's worked very well for me,
Cool. I mean, I think, yeah, I mean, like I said, there's a lot of good things to be had for virtual training. But
and it's not going away. It's not going away.
No. I was vying for this long before.
Yeah.
I mean, like I said, I was teaching lessons in this before COVID. So, I mean,
it's not going away. Yeah.
No. I've been waiting for people. The funny thing is, I would do that before, and people are like,
No. I tell you, I've seen people,
hey, I'm in.
100% say no, and all of a sudden, in this last year, I'm seeing whether it's TikTok, whatever that site is, or they're doing content online. So I've seen the most stubborn finally, because you know what? If you want to be relevant and you want to keep the doors open, if you have a school, you will be doing it,
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, So, like I said, I think it's a good thing. I just, it's just, I think okay, so I think we can agree that it's valid form of training, and it is good to supplement physical training as opposed to substitute for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think, again, just being upfront with the individual who does live far away or for whatever reason in that particular time can't get access to you, that you're realistic to them to what point or level they can go to,
So now let's talk about, so supplemental, not substitute for real training. Got to get physical training in, got to do your homework. And preferably if you're doing digital downloads and stuff like that, you are opting in and doing some form of online private lessons or group lessons with the individual, so you can actually have a dialogue with that person and talk to them.
Yeah, and that's a whole nother thing. I mean, we're talking about online, but there's a conversation. Is it individual privates online, or is it or seminars online? I do both. Again, I make it very clear to a certain level in there, homework being required for the ones I meet privately. The group seminar ones, no homework. Now, here's another thing too. Downloads. Some people offer downloads, some don't.
I do.
I do too, if I know the people getting them, which generally, again, when I offer the private ones, I offer the download because they're already in the curriculum, they're already in the group. I'm fine. However, though, if it's a public one, I don't give the download to everybody. You know what I mean?
So let's okay, so right here, as a instructor for virtual trainer, do you hold the student to the same standard over the virtual or harder track? I'm going to sit there and say, um, I am harder on my in-person students because I can get that tactile response with them. The goal is that my virtual students will become in-person students sooner or later, whether they come to me or I go to them. But I would say the students in my school, I hold at a higher level of accountability because they have no excuses for not knowing how something feels. Talking to them on a regular basis. Listen, my school is the headquarters for the organization. My people should be belt for belt better than all the others. Just by the definition alone, they have access to me all the time. They can ask questions of me, so I'm constantly asking questions of those, like little things, like okay, like we'll sit there, and one of the things I'll sit there and say, okay, how do you get good at something? And it's a motto in the school. You practice. How do you get better? You practice with more people. And then I just did a conversation the other day. I'm like, I had a little epiphany in the class. I go, okay, everyone hears me tell stories about Professor. And if you listen online, there's a lot of people that talk about professors, a lot of serious martial artists that talk very good. I mean, especially if you listen to the Bladed Hand and other interviews that some of my friends have done in the past with different instructors. Remy was talked very highly of by a lot of his peers back in the day. And so the question I'll ask them is, why do you think he's as good as he's was as good as he was? So, and they'll say, well, he crossed hands with more people. So the first time we go back to the first thing is, how many hands do we cross with in school? Well, a lot. But isn't it better when we do seminars, we cross hands with more people? Yeah, we get a better set. Well, he was doing that all the time. He had tens of thousands of people he crossed hands with. The other thing is, he did it for real. And I like to make the distinction because so people know what's going on, because it's not all the same. But I'll ask these questions like, all right, what are the 3 ways to hit a target? Hit, at, in, and through. Great. What are our 3 blocking methods? Unbrace, brace, dos manos. If my students in my own school don't know that stuff, and my long distance students know it better than and I'm not talking Craig, who's my top ranked Canadian. I'm talking the norms. When I'm out there and I'm doing a seminar, and like the people in the room know more about my what I do than my own students. So that way I do hold a higher level of accountability, because there should be no excuse about them not knowing more.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
So let me ask you this, because I have a couple things in my mind. Let's talk about how to get your most bang for your buck. So I'm not doing, like when you're doing a virtual seminar or a virtual class. Okay, so you mentioned something, and I want to talk about the difference here between you and I. No, that doesn't mean fighting. That means training. Having that tactile response. It's not about sparring people. When I grab you and I go to bend your wrist may bend differently than the guy next to you. I won't know how to adapt unless I do hands-on with people. The more people I cross hands with, the better I get at locking and throwing. The more people I throw punches with, the better I get at punching. So yes, we want to spar. That's another thing you want to do resistance training. But we're not talking about going out and fighting everybody. That's not what I'm talking about. Although sparring is a great way to get training in, if it's done the right way. Thoughts?
Yeah, but if we're tying into virtual,
that
would be one of the things. Up to a certain level, after that, I need to see you, because now there's going to be resistance, whether that resistance is sparring or wherever it may be. Right
now, somebody who was ahead of his time. I was right along with him, but I didn't have the means, and he pulled it off. And a lot of people had mixed feelings about it. But when I know people who went through the program before I met you, when I was able to look at the program, and I felt overall pretty good with what was going on. Burton with his Battlefield Khali, because back then everything was pre-recorded.
I can tell you about every program he's got, and
having to log in X amount of rounds of sparring,
right? Well,
really is phenomenal.
Back to the homework, right?
There you go.
You can't. So there you go. There's the checks and balances, right?
Perfect. So we're in. What recommendations would someone's okay? So you talked about this. My topics are a lot different than yours because I'm not teaching blade work, not openly. I do blade. Well, your Western Piper obviously is a very aggressive program.
But we do. I mean, it's looked. I mean, in other words, we touch upon that where it comes from, but we also make the very distinction of a Western philosophical approach where the aggression is not there because we're not criminals. So there's a very clear line and distinction.
Excellent.
Otherwise, we're just making like criminals, which is terrible.
Right? Which is not, we're trying. You're trying to create sheepdogs, not wolves.
Right.
So, but I can understand how you wouldn't want your content being the wrong people getting access to it. Because
there's definitely screening. So there's another great topic you brought up. So if you are showing, in my case, like I'm obviously knife centric in my material, not all of it, but the majority. Yeah, I mean, there's absolutely no words. If I have people sign up and I don't know them, I reach out to them and I do a background check. Thankfully, that's only been a few times. Mostly people that join are people I know from other arts and communities and all that. But I think that is something that absolutely needs to be done just as far as ethics and responsibility. So you don't get disenfranchised folks in there and they're getting material that they have no business getting, right? That's why I only do public with the intro material because they're not really getting the real advanced stuff. So but still though, I think it's a good practice to screen, right?
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So I mean, like I said, pretty much anyone that wants to come and train with me, I give them the opportunity to, and we meet and talk and stuff like that. But I don't teach any offensive blade work, or at least knife specifically, until post-black in our curriculum.
Yeah.
And that gives me time to.
Yeah, you're vetting right there, right?
I mean, how can you decide right then and there whether this guy is right or wrong?
No. I mean,
a lot of times they don't tell you that.
Yeah, you gotta ask. Ask who their teachers are, who they currently train with. If they can't answer a few questions, I've done this. I move on. I don't work with them. Yeah, it's just not worth it. I mean,
So I remember Chad came up to do a seminar for us, and all of a sudden, he tells us, "Oh, by the way, everyone needs to fill out this form, and we need a copy of their ID and all this other stuff because it's going to be a SIAC seminar." I'm like,
when they had to go through all that.
Yeah, and then basically he goes, if they can show me a concealed carry permit, I don't need any of the information. I just need to know.
Right. If they're able to have a gun, yeah.
Right. Yeah. So, I find that on the day he shows up, I'm like, what the hell is bullshit like this? I mean, and obviously from that point on, we worked on our communication ahead of time for seminars because that was. And I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It was just not a good thing to find out
right in advance. Could be.
Yeah, I found out like hours before we taught the seminar.
Yeah,
like that. I don't know how much adjusting on the fly, especially I had Joe Apostle coming down from Toronto, who was also one of the Syatt brothers. But
he was he was a little after me. He was after me, actually.
yeah, but who knows? I mean, it could have easily been somebody who wasn't one of them that wanted to come in and see it all of a sudden say, sorry, hasta la vista, baby, you got to go.
Yeah.
So so my material isn't as sensitive as yours when it comes to things of this nature. So when I teach,
all of it. I mean, I do a big part of my student body is teaching Burton's CELOC program. So it's not, yeah. And I did that intentionally because it was just getting a little too much with the, yeah.
Now I include, so my virtual seminars, so I do the hybrid seminars, I should say. And when people come in, we do the physical and the virtual, and no matter how you attend, you get a digital download of that. And here's the reason why. And anyone who's done any research with this, I can't keep someone from recording the material if they wanted to.
No, I mean, you're hoping ethically when you say no that but ultimately, yeah, I mean,
all I got to do is touch a few keys on my keyboard, without any special software. If you got a Windows computer, you can easily start recording anything that's on your screen.
Yeah, no,
and that's with factory software.
Right. No, if they want it, right. I mean, I know it's not.
But like if you were teaching, like let's take Piper off the platform. You've got your KI seminars. You've got
getting and matter of fact, I'm getting back to Blade Tech, which is more the kind of mammalian, self-defense, translation of the weapons, et cetera, et cetera. The problem, what was happening was WPM grew so big and so fast. It took me away. So what's nice is I got a couple of guys who can run things. So I'm kind of getting back to the other ones.
Good.
Which is nice. Yeah. Actually, it's really nice. Yeah.
Like I said, when we do our, because of the topics, and there's some things that I won't share with people. I'll be the first one to admit. The good thing is for me that makes the difference is that I will probably have 10 or 15 people who sign up for a seminar that don't attend live.
Yeah.
So they depend on that digital download afterwards.
Yeah, but then they're part. See, my thing, I'm totally fine with that. Like if they're part of the group and they're active, and maybe they're working, they have a family affair, whatever it is, I'm absolutely fine with that. Yeah. Now for the person obviously you don't know, well then, no.
And it all depends on what the topics are. Some things I will not put out.
Yeah, absolutely. And
I think that's what we're talking about. When we're talking about this is topic centric, this decision.
Yeah, I mean, right. Well, topic centric, how far you go to determine that you'll teach online, who your audience is going to be, and what's the setting? Is it public? Is it private? Based on material and audience,
Yeah.
And I use that. Well, I mean, that format is what I uphold to as far as seminars. When it's private, depending on the module they're doing, is when the screening will kick in. If it's somebody I don't know, which luckily, that's only been a few times because, I mean, by virtue of FMA discussion, my name's kind of out there. So, you get to know who's who. So, you know what I mean?
Yes, you do. So, so my question here for you, someone reaches out to you and says, hey, Dean, I'd like to, not necessarily your topic, but someone today is watching this and wants some advice on how to get the most bang for your buck. So what's some advice? And hopefully the person is giving you a digital download if it makes sense. It may or may not make sense depending on what's going on, or like we've talked about, vetted material. You need to make sure it's going to the right people, blah, blah, blah. So, what what other things do you look for? Like some of the stuff I don't want to be the first to say. So, but like so, we're not going to try to direct you to a person. But what should I'm going to do an online class with somebody? What should they be doing for me during these classes to make it easier for me to consume what's going on? Should they be asking me some questions ahead of time or making a suggestion? Of course, we're going to talk about these suggestions as well. But
Yeah.
I think part of it has to do with, for me, are the instructors concerned about you, or if this is just a money grab? And then there are some indicators when it comes to that, to me, that, you know, if you're talking to me about the seminar, there's some things that I would say ahead of time to try to help you.
Yeah, I think, while here's the thing, we've been talking about screening students. You know what? It's a student job to screen instructors. I mean, what's the reputation? Like, what's the feedback you're getting on them before you're even spending money? I mean, to me, that's a conversation, time well spent. I mean, students, do you due diligence. Ask people how it went. Did they enjoy the virtual seminar? Was it a good experience? Was it a nice learning environment? All the and et cetera. So I think some of that falls on the student, right? I mean,
Well,
I mean,
and
the nice
that's
thing
the
about
thing
it
is
is
right
we're
now,
coming
what I
close.
want to do is,
You know,
as we're talking to them, because some people are naive about this,
yeah.
what advice can we give them to better arm themselves? Like, okay, like when I'm talking to a parent that might be moving
Mm-hmm.
to another part of the country or whatever,
Right.
I give them some advice to talk to these other schools. Or actually, I have people in my school that also train in other martial arts schools in Buffalo. And sometimes they're like, all right, they're doing, let's say it, they're doing Taekwondo. They're coming up on their black belt test, or their daughter's coming up on their black belt test. It's maybe 2 months or 3 months before the test. Their membership will expire. They have every intention on taking time off after the test. And they've asked me, what can I do? Because like some places I know of somebody who literally wouldn't let a kid test for their black belt test unless they signed up for another year. And then that family left them and never came back. So yeah, and I said, well, listen, well, they can't. No one can tell you. Well, I really can't sign you up for just 3 months. Yeah, you can. You own the place.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, that's just...
So I mean, I would sit there and say, hey, listen, here's what's happening. The test is in August. You want to get your daughter through this, but then they're going to go back to school because we go back in September. And then and you can honestly sit there and say, that we can go through there and give them time off, and maybe hitting this. Maybe they're done and they don't want to ever go back. Maybe they're done a long time before that. Maybe maybe the thing is that they're maybe they just need a little break. Who knows? But I've also, like I said, I've given parents advice on how to deal with school owners. Because at the end of the day, if they have a good customer experience, because we are a customer service industry, no one's paying for the right to train with us. We offer a service. They pay for the lessons. If we don't give that service to the people, which is why with my topics, which are not sensitive because they wouldn't be blade centric, I make sure that there's a digital copy. With my Modern University, I have the online course that goes through Vimeo, and I tell people, once you purchase it, send me the receipt. I'll send you out the curriculum sheets so you can use as a check off list, go through stuff, blah blah blah. There's a couple different ways you can go about this. But you're right. You need to ask around about the instructor, and here that's a. that's a yes/no thing. Okay, so depends on who you're talking to. You know,
Yeah,
I
but
would
I think they need to
do
take a
research.
sample. I mean, like if they're really, in other words, I mean, it's going to differ depending on their social clique or who
Yeah,
they're associated with. In other words, if you don't know the instructor at all, I mean, we're becoming a small world obviously by virtual and internet.
right,
I mean, there's enough people that you can sample or ask and
right.
get an answer. I mean, nobody's that obscure, right?
Yeah,
No.
yeah, yeah. And some people, there could be some political stuff about them. Like
Yeah.
myself, I would say, there's I've got my fans, and then I've got the other fans.
Yeah.
So okay, you know what? At the end of the day, I think you should try a class.
Yeah. And I mean,
I mean,
yeah,
seeing
I
is
mean,
believing.
that's why you offer the intro online because it's a nice, cheap, affordable way for folks to check something out. Obviously, there's no commitment. It's an intro, and from there they can make an educated decision whether there's something they want to pursue or not.
I think a big part, if they do not have a training partner to be there on a regular basis,
Yeah.
I would question whether this is the person you want to train with.
Well, depending on yes, and that's where I become that fact. Depending on the module they're doing, I ask
Right.
them. Like for instance, if they're doing Burton CLOT program, I tell them, say, look, in order to go up the levels, you're going to absolutely need a training partner. So just being upfront, depending on what the module they want and what material they want, I mean, all that, yeah, absolutely. Like some stuff it's just not gonna happen, right? You know what I
I
mean?
have turned down several clients for my university.
Yeah.
I had people like a guy in Trinidad who wanted to train with me, and a few other people here and there, and they're like, "Do I need a partner with this?" And I go,
Yeah.
"Yes, you will need a partner." And this
Right.
is just my online university, not you know, not. But if I'm going to put that level of they should have a training partner, because how are you going to show me a stick disarm if you don't have a person to swing the
Well, that's
stick?
what I mean. And right in the beginning, I think we just that transparency and that honesty up to the students or student or students. Yeah, I think that just needs to be revealed. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
Yeah, I don't want someone that can't. And the thing is, it's a two-way thing. If they can't commit to me to go and get a training partner, they can't. I mean, okay, so I just had a guy from Serbia reach out to me, and he goes, "Well, like, what's the process?" So I said, "Well, you do this, and we'll do the online grading." I go, he goes, "Well, what's that going to cost me?" And I looked at the economy. I said, "I tell you what, because of the exchange rate,
Yeah.
you pay for the classes. I will sponsor your grading fees."
Yeah.
I mean, because it's just if they were going to make that level of commitment to purchase that. So I looked at what their monthly fee was going to be, or what their monthly income was going to be, and this is like 30% of their monthly income. I'm like, yeah,
Wow.
or I'm sorry, no, their weekly income, a third of their weekly income.
Yeah.
You know what? When they make that level of commitment, I'll comp them on the other side. It
Yeah,
does.
yeah. No, if they're especially at a ratio like
They
that.
need to have skin in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, listen, if I was independently wealthy, if I hit the lotto, I still would charge a minimal fee because when it's free, people then don't take it for what its value is.
Their value. Yeah, I know. Right?
The perceived value and the actual value are completely different. I'm like, well, I don't have to charge. I go, yeah, but you got to do something to get people in. Hey, Tim, how you doing? And I saw bits and pieces of your interview of Tim on FMA Discussion. Tim, you did well.
Oh yeah, that was
I watched him when he was doing the talking about the coconuts, how he practices the
yeah, it was good stuff to bond up.
And I never got to that level. I valued my hands too much. I just worked on the staff. Dr. G let me train it was great, man. Dr. G let me train everything, and I didn't have to go down certain paths if I didn't want to. And but because he was helping, thank you, Tim. he was helping me become a better teacher. And I also became a Bondo staff instructor, a master level staff instructor while I was there. But the cool thing was, I mean, I love Dr. G because he really made me think completely differently and than what I was doing. And, so, but that's going down the rabbit hole. Once again, a person who's going to teach, the first thing they should do if you're having a dialogue, I think they should be recommending that you have a training partner.
Yes.
Some material you might be able to pull off without a partner. But you still need someone to feed you. And here's the thing, training partner doesn't necessarily mean it has to be high speed. There's a lot. You just need someone to throw a punch, kick, or stick at you. It doesn't, obviously drills, that's another story. If you're going to do like Sombrata drill or Hubud or something.
Yeah, I think like the curriculum, like, what is it? I mean, if you're doing an sono blend and it's, you're going through the Sombratas and the Hubud Lubid, I mean, no, but if you're doing a tactic system self-defense, like a flashlight program that I have and all that, you know what I mean? It's
different. I've got a guy who uses my school. He's an old acquaintance of mine. He does Shotokan, and he will be in my school doing his kata, and all of a sudden I hear him talking to himself. I'm like, I thought I'm the only one around here that talks to himself. I got up out of my desk, went on the floor. Tony, what the hell's going on? Oh, this is so-and-so from Japan. Oh, domoregato. Oh, konnichiwa. Oh, nice dojo. Oh, domoregato. And I'm like, okay, blah, 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 blah. And kata all day long. I think if you're doing like Silat and you're doing the Jurus, you could do that quite a bit.
Yeah, like for instance, like let's use Burton as the example. Now, Burton, as you mentioned, has the Bafakali. Absolutely, of course, you need a partner. It's not happening, right? You're not gonna get to any level or test anything, right? However, though, he's got the Sinawali program to improve, enhance your coordination with double sticks. Totally could do it on your own. You know what I mean? Totally want to do it. Now, he also has other programs like that where where one can just do them on their own. But the majority of his stuff is, where you're going to need a partner. But again, it's acknowledged, it's known, and you know what I mean? That's one thing too, diversification, like, which I learned from him, in other words, like I teach WPM where through the first few levels, you can do it without a partner and we can do it online. But then again, I do some of Burton's stuff and Blade Tech where right off the bat, I just tell them, like, you're going to need a partner. You know what I mean? But I tell you, it's nice to have where you've got kind of one of each or 2 of 1 or 1 to 2, you know what I mean? Where you can accommodate some folks who don't have a training partner, but yet they want some realistic self-defense with crazy day, these crazy days, right?
Mm-hmm. I get you. And so and the other end, so once again, we've got that one. Now the other end of that would be they should have a partner too. So, and I said most of the time, okay, listen, I mean, I was, I donated a private lesson to one of your fundraisers, and our friend Joe won it. And I was trying to coordinate with him. I was like pulling teeth. And I'm like, and my whole thing went back to Joe Lennon, yeah.
His work schedule's just.
Well, it wasn't the work schedule. It was me for having a partner. I'm like, and we finally pulled off.
Oh, yeah, but he's got Curtis. Yeah, that's actually worse than his work schedule.
Yeah. So then he rolled in and he goes, I mean, like, listen, I don't have a partner here, so I don't know. Tim, I want to pick your brain on teaching concepts. Oh.
Well, there you go. He made use of it.
Yeah, no, it was really well. I mean, because that was when I tell you he was doing his hidden knife program and he was having problems because people are
You cannot believe what he's done with that stuff.
Yeah. So we're sitting there talking. It's like, what do I do? Because they got all these other guys calling me out. I'm like, well, what you do is you get them part of the exchange, you part of the program. You get them on your side. I go, hey guys, I want you to watch what's going on. Let's see how observant this guy is, but don't tell him. Don't say a word. And then Then he goes, what do you see? Nothing. Guys, tell him what he's missing. Boom. Oh, wow. And now you've gotten everyone part of the game. Everyone's playing the stuff with us. And, it's like, oh, okay, that's cool. And,
that's
fortunately, that one worked out well for me. I don't like doing private lessons virtually because I need to. Okay, so here's the thing. If I'm not one of those guys that says if I'm going to have a training partner with me, that I'm not going to compensate them one way or another.
Yeah.
So I did the lesson this weekend, and I take care of what needs to be done with the instructor. And it was Craig and myself, and I had my guy Paul with me, one of my old black belts that came back from now that he's retired from work. And he came in. He didn't pay for the training, and because he just fed me. But what I also did was he got a copy of the private lesson, and I was like, okay, this is really cool. And so I made sure I did something right for him. Well, if you're going to hire me for a private lesson, I need to have somebody with me, and I'm not going to put one of my guys to work.
Yeah.
And not compensate them for their time one way or another, which means sooner or later you might be paying more than than you need. I'm gonna have to put some of that money towards. Obviously I have to figure out my price. If I'm paying someone there to be an hour for me, with me, I can't just like have them donate their time. I mean, once in a while someone help me out, but everyone's time's worth something. And
for sure.
Fortunately, when I teach my seminars, I always got a body there, so that's not a big deal, But definitely, I see some of these guys teaching seminars, and for me, based on the type of material that I'm interested in, if they don't have a training partner with them, it would be a waste of my time, because I want to see when you grab someone by the arm and you pull them, I want to see how it affects your arms. I want to see how it affects your legs. I want to see what your feet do. I want to see all these different things that are going on. And someone just doing a carenza in the air just doesn't do anything right for me. It just doesn't do anything for me. You don't have you can't think creatively. I'm like, no, because I've laid hands on people and did the same move slightly different, and it completely changed the structure.
But here, we also got to be honest too. There's just certain people that probably shouldn't be teaching online, and that doesn't mean there's anything bad with that. It just means
wait. I think you put too many words in there. I think we got to get rid of the word online and say there's people out there that really shouldn't be teaching.
Well, yeah. I mean that alone, but there's certain people who maybe they are absolutely fantastic on the floor and all that. When it comes to virtually. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, it takes. I could tell you though one thing though, by virtue of doing a lot of online privates and that is definitely enhanced my in-person preaching. So there's an absolute benefit for folks that maybe are not doing it, but I thought of doing it. And I'm only speaking from my personal experience, of course.
Oh, I get you. And listen, everyone, we are not gospel. Our word is not gospel with this.
Right.
We are just talking about our personal experience. Here we go. I've been ignoring most of Matt's comments. I'm going to give him one because, he's busting my chops all the time. Wait, Tim, you have a friend? How did that happen? Oh, okay. Okay, Matt, there you go. Jake, here we go. As a student, I would say getting a partner would be difficult in a sense because then the partner would have to be interested enough to go through the ranks too. So what I actually do when I do my lessons, my private lessons and my virtual stuff as well, if we're doing continuing stuff, I don't charge for the second person. So I got this from Grandmaster Browning. He charged his personal rates. So he goes, this is what I'm going to charge for lessons. Okay. I go, I don't charge for the second person there.
I don't either. Like if I'm doing an online session, let's just say, hey, I got a partner, then whatever I'm charging, I just have to split two. Like, I don't double up.
Yeah, I do that in person as well, because here's the thing. My job is to teach them, not to be their partner.
Yeah.
Yep, and that's exactly. Ron always said there's two different types of class. Okay, Grandmaster Browning
Different body
always
types
said
in class.
that different body types in a class. Yeah, and actually, it was Grandmaster Ron Browning who told me this because he did a lot of personal training. He goes, Tim, I don't charge for their partners. I go, why not? I just out of curiosity. He goes, because that way my body doesn't get beat up. For one, two, and so I can see that. But more importantly, how many times are you missing things because you're too close to the photo? How many times, like, I can't teach, if I have two bodies and I go to do a move and you can't see what it feels like, but you don't know how I got you there because you can't see what I'm doing.
Yeah.
So what I'll do now when I don't have a training partner, a lot of my stuff is digitized. I'll actually bring up the technique online.
Okay.
And I'll play it for them. Or what I've had is Janice has walked in the room and I've had her do the technique to me. Here, you see what she's doing? Oh, okay. So if the person has a partner, I don't get beat up and I can teach them from a third person point of view.
Yeah.
So
no, definitely. I mean, there's definitely, no, I think it's all worth, looking at.
Here we go. Jack Hayden has a question. I'm going to direct this to you. Opinion of Sayat Kali.
Oh boy. Tell him that's something I would like to send him a private message on.
Yeah.
So Jack, if you want, feel free to private message me and on Facebook Messenger. I would be more than happy to answer that.
Okay. Personally, I've got no problem with it. I like the blade study.
Yeah.
My issue with anything that is all blade all the time, because that was their catchphrase. It really should narrow the potential clients for that because you shouldn't be putting a knife in everyone's hands. And
there was some stuff that stuck out why I didn't continue with them for sure. Yeah.
And
but then there were some things I thought they did well. You know what I mean? But yeah.
Yeah, I trust. I mean, I actually liked a lot of what they did. But I liked having more open hand options or some impact.
And basically, everything you're describing is what we really did in WPM.
There we go.
We made a very, very big piece of translating the Piper tactics to legally weapons that are legally defensible and an empty hand component in there. So we're not sending everybody to jail.
Yeah, I just my only issue with SIAC, I think, is how it became this cult-esque vibe.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
But I mean, I don't want to try. I mean, listen, it's a cult of personality to begin with martial arts as a whole. So it's not just them. It's
if I recall, when I started first hearing the word cult, it was kind of aimed at them. And not that I agreed with that. I'm just saying, when I first heard that term, it was kind of directed at them.
Yeah, like I said, I liked all that blade work that I got exposed to.
It was a heavily feeder mentality. And in my opinion, at the time when they were coming out, all that stuff, I thought it was better suited for military. I thought what they were giving the average layman and the methodology behind it, and again, this is just my opinion, and a clear picture came out of this when I started teaching edge weapons, mainly Piper, Medusa, and Blade Tech. That became farther illuminated that what they were giving back then to the average layman, I don't agree with. I don't know if they're still doing that. I'm just talking about literally 23 years ago. So
yeah. So But you know what I thought they did really well? They showed that Filipino martial arts can be a high ticket item.
No,
Chris Sack
we're
charged
here.
a
Okay.
lot of money.
Well, yeah, I'm gonna guess I'll indirectly or directly start answering the question. What Sayok did way back then was when you, first of all, he brought the word Kali back to the forefront, like Gahe did. But here's the other thing too that made him unique for those times. He was the second after Tom Sodas to have a system that was just solely based on edged weapons. And nobody was doing that in the bigger public scheme.
Oh,
Through that
remind me at
scheme,
the
he
end of the show. I
created.
got to talk to you about that.
Okay.
I got to talk to you about
Chris
Tom.
Sack was a marketing genius. He knew the Americans would buy into the rigs and knives, the way this system was set up, and hook, line, and sinker. And he succeeded. I mean, this is somebody who created training groups in the States, got over to Europe after the second or third Sama Sama when The Hunted came out. A lot of things were happening at that same time. But certainly spreaded something, edge weapon. So, yeah, I think it's fair to say that there was some really good he did as far as the FMA community. Absolutely.
He did something in the FMA community that no one else had done when it comes to the
For
business
that
model
time.
at
For
that
that
time.
time.
I mean,
Absolutely.
he blew up. He was
Yeah.
charging.
He was a marketing genius.
Yeah. No. Chris had his
He
shit
was
together when
making
he came up.
money off that store, selling the aluminum blades, the
Yeah.
T-shirts, this, that. I mean, they had a fully functioning running store back then that was, the
Oh
sound,
no, there's no question. They were on point, and they were the first to show that Filipino martial arts could be like all the other. This is why I made the comment about get the F out of FMA, because people get in their head that it's Filipino, so you can't run a school. Why not? I mean, he did it. He helped the Atienzas out with that as well.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Kansas piggybacked a year later off their business model. Kansas did not have rigs in the beginning. I know that. I was a rep. There were no rigs in the beginning. The rigs came after. They were invited to the Sama Sama, and they took on some of their business. Yeah, I mean, I saw the whole evolution. Yeah.
So it was good because, like I said, back then, like I said, we've talked about this on the show where people are making comments that that Filipino martial arts can't pull this shit off. Chris Sack did.
Yeah, and you're talking. I mean, like he went public in the late '90s. He did a couple in the Long Island area, as far as public seminars. Things got rocking and rolling in the early 2000s, and then when The Hunted came out, forget it. He blew. I mean, absolutely. I mean, blew up. Got into over in England with Krishna. Now, I don't know. The one thing I don't know, and would be unfair for me to speak on, I have no idea like where they're at today. I couldn't even tell you.
No. I mean, after Chris passed away, kind of went sideways. Okay, we'll get off on this here. Dan, okay, what were you referring to at level 2? So Dean has. I don't want to let him speak more on it, but really quickly, Dean has multiple levels in his training program. So certain levels are not conducive to virtual only. But please help us out with that.
Yeah. So, for instance, let's take Western Piper methods. If you have some blade work before and all that, the first 2 levels, based on the methodology, can be taught online with homework on that, and assuming you're meeting regularly and you're doing the homework, right? After that, though, in person, etc. Blade Tech, no, right from day one, you're going to have a partner, or you either come to see me or you have a partner, and then I can see you with your partner because it's so attribute developed. It's not based on memorization or a bunch of drills. So really, that comment as far as a level 2 was specifically towards WPM.
Yeah. So, but I mean, like, so, and like I said, guys, there's all different programs out there, and in Balintawak, it would be very hard to do a virtual class because it's so partner centric.
Oh my God, how could you how would you even do like
Once
maybe
again,
like
now,
the
so
moving
no,
the
I mean,
stick,
listen,
the initial
you
movement?
can pull Balintawak off if you've got a partner and you've done it
Oh no,
before.
I'm
But
talking
I
if you didn't have a partner, you
well,
like you can't do it. Right?
actually, what would be perfect is you'd feed me and I'd do it back to you. The only problem is, do the cameras match up the right way? Matt says, I'm still a bit
Yeah.
confused. Okay, Matt, here's the thing.
Yeah, virtual feeding, and I've done virtual feeding KI with folks that have been around for a bit.
Yeah.
Off the gate, right out of the gate.
Okay.
You know,
No, I wouldn't go there. Okay. Okay,
yeah.
Matt, let's just put it this way. Levels are belts. And at a certain belt level, you need to have a partner
Oh,
and you
okay.
need to be hands on. It's probably the easiest way to do it.
Yeah.
But
So Matt, I don't have belts. I have levels. So
same thing.
the belts are equivalent to levels. Yeah.
Actually, he was going to go with Mickey Mouse ears because it's a Mickey Mouse program. No. I have a funny story on that, actually. I believe that when I started Wing Chun, Sifu were very strict because don't want
Yeah, I
to
think we
waste
all
the
had
time.
a teacher like that, right? And
Yeah. And I got nothing from Jack, so I don't know what you posted down there. And then Jacob, yes. Listen, I think there's like I said, I think there's such a value to this virtual program because here's the thing too is you can ask a question like right now. This is a virtual. This show is virtual learning.
Totally. But here's the thing too. Let's say you got this person who's in this remote area, has no access to schools, whatever, for various reasons or whatever's
Exactly.
going on there. But now they can actually like do something. I mean, so yeah,
There you go.
I totally agree.
Now it's rough if the person has no other training going on.
Yeah, but at least they can do something. I mean,
yeah. Well, I was like, Craig, here's a perfect example. Craig has a student. She does the fitness class with him. She does it virtual because it would be a 2-hour round trip in addition to the training because she had relocated. But she logs in to be part of it virtually. I mean, that's no different than, was it Peloton? Is that what the online programs are? Pelotons?
What's that called?
I don't know, whatever those fitness things are. Is it Peloton or where they're doing like the bikes and you ride with everybody virtually?
I'm not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Let me do this here. I'm gonna do my traditional break. I'll be right back. You can, by all means, talk to everybody.
So, what can I talk about while Tim is on his break? Got a couple online seminars coming up. One's Blade Tech, specific for folks that are already doing it. There is a law enforcement seminar we're doing this Saturday on Piper methodology, but not just knife centric, but geared towards law enforcement, tactical flashlight, et cetera, et cetera. What to look for from a criminality or a criminal mindset, going beyond like not letting it get close to you, but far exceeding that. I was just basically making up things. No, just telling what I had coming up. No.
Yeah. Oh, that's good. Listen, guys, I mean, there's not really much more we can.
Yeah.
I think we covered it all. I mean, listen, the goal is not to go for 3 hours every time we do a show.
Yeah, I mean, I don't keep in mind, man. It's funny you said that. I'm keeping mine like an hour.
Yeah.
Like, because when people go watch the download, what I'm finding as far as the audience and those who like actually watch it, when it starts getting long, and don't mean I've had great long ones, but it's really hard to expect people post show to watch something that is really going beyond like like an hour. Hi Eric. Dean, have you done anything? No. There's been talk about bringing me out to Idaho, that which is, I guess, out there. By that, one of my students, Steve Rommel, but nothing yet as far as Portland, Oregon.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, we can, because I got some people calling me just about it.
Yeah. Well, let's tie this. And I want to talk to you about something afterwards.
Oh, sure.
So listen. First of all, you got to do your homework. You need to, and there may not, and thank you, Dean, according to Eric, you may or may not find the person you want that's good for you. What you want to do is actually, here's a good resource. If you want to, if you see a bunch of people that offer lessons, I bet you if you go on Dean's FMA discussion YouTube channel, you can probably get interviews of these guys. And you might see them move. The other thing, too, is listen. Here we go. You are the consumer. That puts you in charge.
It really does when you think about it.
This is a customer service industry.
Yeah.
If you want something,
right.
There's a two-way street. They don't have to take you. You don't have to take them.
Yeah.
If they don't want to teach something to them, that's their right not to teach you something. So I'm not going to say it's wrong, but if it's like, hey, listen, I want you to teach me this blade work and all this other stuff, like, dude, I don't feel comfortable teaching it to you, or I don't, or it's something that it's not in their wheelhouse.
Mm. Yeah, let's face it, everything, and that's another thing too, just being honest with yourself. Like, everything I offer might not be for you. Like, I tell folks that, hey, look, I'm just gonna be honest with you. This is what I offer you. I'm a very tactic based, functional based. Every module I teach, that's my wheelhouse, and it might not be for you. You know what I mean? So again, just being transparent, so you're not taking somebody's money who that's not what they want right from the get-go. You know what I mean?
So we were talking about this in the school today, and my school we're talking about this with people that I'm looking to be a HMMA. Now the problem is the school is HMA, Horizon Martial Arts, and I don't want to be MMA mixed martial arts. But one of my problems with Filipino martial arts are this: a lot of them will teach historical martial arts, which there's nothing wrong with that, but they sell it as modern day combatives. And I'm sorry, I don't know the last time I saw someone fighting with a stick and dagger or a sword and dagger.
Yeah. No.
Against another person.
So when I teach, like for instance, when we go to New Hampshire, when I've taught that, I make it right off the bat. I say, look, this could help your offhand. But this is more historical. There,
right.
So here we go. Good, and people can learn it. Once a person feels the technique done with the masters of the art, no one understands and appreciate. I'm not sure what that means. Yeah, well, this is your wheelhouse, Martin.
Okay.
So.
Virtual, yeah. So it's all, okay, cool. There goes. I'm. Good evening. And then, hello from Detroit. That's a Tuesday in Detroit, and I want to be a sticker dagger. So I have a historical flavor with a modern twist.
Okay.
And like today, I brought up we used rubber hammers in class, not the squeaky kind. I've got claw hammers that I had made for me.
Yeah.
I go, listen, the sticks are not as relevant. It's not that I don't want to. I go, the sticks will give us everything we need, but we need to put different tools in our hands so we're acclimated for those tools.
Okay.
And my goal is unarmed against an armed assailant because that's the most likely scenario. And it's not that I don't appreciate or want to do traditional martial arts, but as much as everyone's here, we have a good time. We love being here. if someone's attacked, I want to know that I've increased their chance of survival in a real world encounter.
Yeah.
Meaning that I got to deal with modern day types of attacks. And, but the traditional training can get us there if it's done right.
Yeah. I mean, like for instance, well, you've seen my blade tech. I mean, the defense for the, yeah, I mean, my stuff is all about like realistic self defense against what you're seeing as far as common attacks on YouTube, news, which are generally speaking, gross motor, right? And before we get into stuff like that, but yeah, I mean, because it's very relevant today, sadly, on what's going on as far as the decay and morale and et cetera, et cetera. And
I get you. All right. So let's break this down real quick, and then we will call it an evening.
Yeah, I can get.
So here's the deal. First of all, you are in charge. You have the power.
Yeah.
But remember, as much as you have the right to choose who you want to train with, they also have the right to choose not to train you. Because maybe you just don't fit the mindset of the people they want around, and vice versa. Yeah. You know, I would set up a virtual interview. If you have some questions, say, hey, listen.
I do if I don't know the person, but certainly the others should be flipped around too.
Yeah. I'm constantly doing phone calls and stuff with people that are, actually, our friend from Tijuana here. We actually had a good 45-minute conversation on the phone, and that big part of that conversation was me trying to get a vibe from him.
Sure.
And you know what? I know it was a two-way street. Oh, Datu, but you know what? If I was a total jerk, he would have never communicated again with me.
Right.
And with technology today, it costs us nothing to have a phone call with each other and stuff
like
like
that. You could really save yourself some heartache.
Ask the questions. Oh, and thank you for that, by the way. No problem, my friend. No problem. The thing here is this. It's communication's a two-way street.
Yeah.
And too many people assume things. And I go, and sometimes I dissect things and over-explain because I've had people under-explain to me, or you've said this and you said that. No.
Yeah.
I said this. You thought what I said and what you think I said are two different things.
Yeah.
Just when I teach a lesson, all of a sudden, this is what you taught. No, I didn't teach it. No. Look at the room. You're the only one in the room doing a stab. Everyone else is doing a slash. Where do you think the disconnect is? So talk to people, get a training partner the best you can, or watch the classes and do it in your class or have a when I come back from a seminar, I take one or two people to the side and I work the material for me. Now I make sure that I don't teach the whole class anymore because people are getting free seminars off of the money I was paying for that stuff. I'm like, no, we don't do that anymore.
Right.
But Remy always talked about this. Once you get a lesson, teach someone, it helps you retain it so much better. And they should have a body in the majority of the training. They should have a body in front of them if it's a hands-on system.
If it's hands-on, and again, I think it's also hands-on. Like you're making that known to them right off the bat, so they're not going through 4 classes with you, and then by the way,
Yeah, no, not all. So, there's plenty of good instructors out there. There's plenty of people that probably shouldn't be teaching on this platform, and that doesn't mean they're not good instructors. I'll give a good example. We had the stick jitsu class this weekend. So Professor Jerry and I were doing stuff back and forth, and we worked together. And I had to keep reminding him to do it in front of the camera.
Okay.
And then he goes, man, you got to keep reminding me. He figured it out. He got in the zone.
Yeah.
That's why you are successful. Instead of rattan sticks, cell phones, car keys, and briefcases. There you go. That's the second time you said Remy. Oh, that means I don't think he's listening today. So, all right. Well, I can't. What do you got coming up?
This weekend, I'm not sure if it's going to happen or not. We're trying something out under Western Piper Methods, like looking at reverse engineering, so to speak, for law enforcement, picking up on the criminal's behavior through a Piper lens. So we're going to try that this weekend. I have something. I have a online coming up July for in-house, August in-house. September, man, is busy. New York camp, Toronto camp. Well, end of the month, Mike and Mays, right? End of September.
Is that September?
That's what she told me.
It's November.
No.
Did that change? God,
Well, let me just. You know what? Here, it's worth. This is time well spent. Let me just make sure that I'm.
I've got November 15th and 16th.
Yeah, and I said that to her, and because I'm like, oh, Tim said it would be end of November. That's what it was. It was supposed to be originally in there, but now it's the 15th. Okay, correct. Yeah, scratch that. Yeah, I know. This is how
I know. I started putting up all my dates. I've got.
This is how stupid.
Actually, I get back from. I'm going. So I'm going to be in the Philippines during Halloween, and then I'm staying for Bobby's birthday camp, and then I come home that same week and I go to Mike and Mays.
So November 15th, 16th, for Mike and May. But it was originally they were talking about end of September,
which I was able to make, and then all of a sudden they changed the dates. That wasn't me.
So you cannot make it.
I've got a thing in Reno now. I could have, but they moved it. So.
Oh, you're not going?
No. I'm going to be in November.
Oh, you couldn't.
No, they told me it was supposed to be September, and then they changed the dates, and now I've got something planned for September. So, so if they decided to move it back, I'm like,
I don't. I can't see them doing that, right?
All right. Okay, here. We must pray for our Krav Maga's friends in India and Iran. That whole Well, I said at the end of the day, we talked about not being political on this, so I'm just going to say, I wish that the powers that be work their stuff out, so the civilians on both sides of that equation.
There you go, the civilians. There you go.
Because at the end of the day, it's never about the country; it's about the leaders.
When you hear about kids and children dying, man, enough's enough.
Men, women, and children who are helpless victims, who are not part of this, that, and the other thing,
100
are constantly any major conflict in the world. So my prayer is that the leaders of these countries work it out.
And I think it's going to happen. Yeah.
So, and then here we go. Great advice. Thanks. Online, that's the way to be close to the source, teaching with all the partners. Yep, very good. All right, well, listen, hey, what do you have a show coming up?
I do. Wednesday night, Muck Guy, we're both under Tom Sotis. I'm bringing him. This guy specializes in 4 themes, which is the empty hand aspect of a muck: front, back, back,
cool.
Front, back. So that should be pretty neat, and yeah.
All right. Well, I don't know what next week's show is going to be. I've been writing a lot lately, so I just put out a post today about what did I put out today. Let me look before I make the comment, because I've got some other ones. There's been comments about allegedly. I've been saying comments of the nature of that I am telling people that they cannot be that they're not legit unless they're under my lineage or using my curriculum of modernity. I'm like, I've never said that to anybody. However, what I have said is, if you're joining my organization, I'll acknowledge you where you're coming in, but you have to backfill a material you don't have. Because before we move forward, we need to make sure that we're on the same page.
Yeah.
But and that's all what we've done. What's Today's article was, oh yeah, the difference between modern versus my prices expression. Okay. And then Matt Jones. Okay. All right. So yeah, I've been writing a lot more. So, if you like to read, go read over there. Over on Datu Hartman. Everything's Datu Hartman. Daily content coming out daily. And our group, we made our pivot. So now we're doing less controversial. I got some really funnies coming up. I think they're funny. I got some reaction videos. I'm actually going to be taking on a knight in shining armor. And there's some other content, but we'll just leave it at that. So with no
I'm
further,
looking forward to what you got coming towards the end of the month and see what's.
I'd say my videos for the most part are entertaining. So we'll see how that goes. So with no further ado, this is Dr. Tim, my good friend, Dean Franco, saying everyone stay safe and stay safe.